Alright, hey, shalom, shalom. Before I get started, as always, I want to give all praise unto our power, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachaha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations and blessings to the hopeful elect that are scattered throughout the four winds of the earth that believe wholeheartedly in the true doctrine that is being pushed throughout the four winds of the earth, who are in hope of mercy and salvation during the time of Jacob's trouble, as well as when Yahweh Shai returns to the planet Earth. To you and to you only I say shalom, and may Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai continue to rain down grace and mercy upon you and your households. I guess we'll call this one News and Prophecy, a trip down memory lane. And the reason I say a trip down memory lane is because when I was listening to this video that's attached to this article, it reminded me of another video that came out about 6, 7, maybe 8 years ago, which was a voice recording of a man by the name of David Goldberg, who is now unalived. And he was a small hat, but he was releasing information that these small hats had in store for the future, which that future is right here in front of us. All right. And trying times are ahead. All right, because everything that we're seeing, all right, we've reported on this years ago, right? And when I say we, I'm talking about the holy prophets of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, the men of Great Millstone, beginning with the apostles and the elders, all right? We've reported on these things that are coming down the pipe, that are happening. You know, we have spoken about these things, and now they're right here at the doorstep. And you're seeing a lot of these other alternative news, social media influencers, whatever you want to call them. They're saying the things that we have said years ago. All right, in case in point, dealing with this article here. All right, and this is why Yahweh Shai said that he will have war with Amalek from generation onto generation. This is why Amalek is going to perish forever. Matter of fact, let me get that. We'll start it off with that. Okay? And when he looked upon Amalek, okay, these are the devils that are behind everything that's happening, all right, which is the head tribe of Edom, all right? Amalek, the small hats, okay? Let me get that real quick. We'll read this one here, Exodus 17 and 14. And I've been reading the book of Exodus all week. You know, I've been listening to Exodus all week, and this is the nation. Just like we're getting ready to exit the second Exodus 2.0. It was Amalek that troubled us. Well, guess what? It's Amalek once again that's troubling Israel. All right, and they're getting ready to come down with great wrath. Okay. It says, Exodus 17:14. It says, and the Lord said unto Moses, write this for a memorial in a book, and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua. For I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. Okay? And everything that's going on, okay, this is why the Lord is going to put out Amalek from under heaven. Verse 16. For he said, because the Lord hath sworn that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. Okay? Even now, in this time that we're living in. All right? 2026, the year of apostates, spies, and sellouts. Okay? These devils are we still at war with these devils. All right? And they're going to make it known very soon, all right, that you tribes, that you're enemy number one. Okay? They disguising and talking about, which they are at war with the Edomites here in Babylon. All right? But they know for sure that we are the people that they're proclaiming to be. Okay? That they are claiming to be. And when they come down with this wrath that they have been prescribing for many, many decades, okay, you tribes will be target number one. Trust and believe that. All right? Numbers 24 and 20. And when he looked on Amalek, small hat, he took up his parable and said Amalek was the first of the nations, right? And when you go read Exodus, they were the first of the nations that came up against us and when we went to war with. All right, they did the coward shit like they doing the coward shit now, blowing up schools with young girls. And I found out that school that they blew up with those young girls were daughters of members of the Iran military force. Those were the only daughters that were at that school. Daughters of members of Iran's military force. Okay. So these devils, they don't give a you know what, man. All right. They were that way back in the ancient world towards us. They still that way. And they're getting ready to do some diabolical, demonic things here in Babylon the Great. And Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is giving them the green light to do so. All right? And the beautiful part about that is that everybody knows. All right? The average person knows that these small hats are behind everything. There's nowhere they can hide. Okay? But they still gonna act and do what they do. Okay? They're still going to do it. And this is going to cause outrage and uproar, all right? Especially after they do, this next major T attack, all right? So already you had Joe Kent resign because he didn't want to partake. He know what's up. He told Nero 47, look, do the right thing. But Nero's, he's being blackmailed. Okay, he couldn't do the right thing if he wanted to anyway. All right. So again, Numbers 24 and 20. And when he looked on Amalek, he took up his parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever. And that's what's getting ready to happen to these Amalekites. They're gonna perish forever. All right. And for all the wickedness that they've done. All right. I was looking at a video. They were behind 9/11. Okay, they were behind. They're behind everything that has gone on, whether it be wars, T attacks, outbreaks. They're behind everything, playing victim, right? But really the villain. And now the world is seeing that they're the true villain. Okay. Deuteronomy 25 and 17. Remember what Amalek did unto thee by the way when ye were come forth out of Egypt. See? And when you read the book of Exodus, you'll get what they did. All right? They attacked us for no reason. No apparent reason these devils attacked us. And they didn't attack the young and the warriors, they attacked the old and the feeble that were behind. Okay? Same tactics they still use to this day. Okay? I'll read this last one here in verse 19, Deuteronomy 25 and 19. It says, therefore it shall be, when the Lord thy power have given thee rest from all thine enemies round about, in the land which the Lord thy power giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it, that thou shalt blot out the remembrance of Amalek. And this is future prophecy, right? This is going to happen when the Lord set us back up under Yahweh Shai. All right, we're going to blot these devils out of the earth. Their remembrance is going to be blotted out. All right? See, right now they plotting and scheming, and they planning on committing what they did over there in Gaza, over here in the States. This is what their plan is, man. Okay? It says that thou shalt blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. Thou shalt not forget it. See that? And I don't know about, which I'm sure brothers in the same sentiment as myself, all the information being brought out about all these so-called truthers and people that are connecting the dots, putting up videos, is perfecting my disdain, my HATRED for these devils, man. Okay? It irks me. You know what I'm saying? And I can absolutely see why Isaiah 14 speaks about, is this the man? Okay? Because that's exactly the sentiment that's going to be when the Lord raises us up and we actually get these devils and be able to give payback. Okay? We're going to this Noah Yuval Harari type motherfucker, man. Bibi Netanyahu. Okay? All these small hats that are running the scenes behind the scenes, that are running things behind the scenes. Now they're talking about passing laws here in Babylon that if you have any type of anti-Sem, you spewing that, you will go to jail for 5 years. Okay, a 3rd-degree felony, and you're gonna go to jail for 5 years. People are getting ready to rebel against this system, man. Okay, especially these Edomites. Okay, ex-military vets that know what's going on. Everybody's antsy right now. Okay, and they gonna sit here and continue to poke, and it's gonna go down. All right, I've been saying, I believe after the Pesach, sometime after the Pesach, whether it be a month, 2 months, 3 months, during the summer, whatever, shit is gonna change in Babylon the Great. Okay, it's gonna get real perilous. Okay, here in Babylon, man. Okay, and that's just me speaking as a man. I don't know. Okay, but I know the tension. I could sense the tension in the air. I could sense the emotion on the people. Okay, when you watch these different news videos, you could sense it, man. People are tired. People know exactly who. Okay, and majority of the people don't even say it. They done got to put a hit out on Tucker Carlson. Okay, Candace Owens. So we are definitely in some trying times, perilous times that are upon us. All right, so back to this article. As you can see, Small Hat's assassination list. of dissidents hacked. Millions of Americans slated for destruction. Okay? And like I said, when I was listening to this video, the Spirit prompted me to remember David Goldberg, Project Pogo, which Project Pogo I believe is pretty much over with. And you're gonna hear what Project Pogo is. I'm gonna go to that video. And we're about to they're about to engage in Project Zyper on a whole nother level. Okay? They're getting ready to engage in it because Project Zyper consists of blackouts, and under the blackouts, they're planning a purge, as well as a financial collapse. Okay, and bringing in the NWO. Okay, and this is what David Goldberg explains in the video that he did. Okay, the last video he did while he was alive. Okay, he wasn't able to get out more videos because they got to him. All right. So let's listen to this real quick, which we won't listen to it all. You know, I don't want to make this too long. I got to lay down and give me some rest for tonight's run. But let's listen.
Israel's classified assassination list has been breached by intelligence operatives tied to Iran, revealing a chilling picture of vast surveillance networks, secret watch lists, and ordinary Americans.
Vast surveillance networks. Palantir is one of them. Okay?
Citizens labelled as threats based on their views. At the core of Israel's global shadow empire sits a ruthless machine of espionage and blackmail. And it's not only world leaders under their gun, you are too. If you have ever criticised Israel or Netanyahu, your data has been scraped and you have been put on their watch list.
How does a foreign prime minister have the power to tell citizens many thousands of miles away that they're not allowed to criticize him? How would you assess the state of free speech in the West right now?
It is seriously in peril. It's often in peril, but it's more in peril than ever before.
Here's what we know. Right before the US and Israel launched an all-out regime change war on Iran, Iranian state hackers executed a stunning cyber heist, gaining access to terabytes of Israel's darkest secrets, military plans, preparation for false flags, and compromise exposing vast surveillance operations inside America, including lists of millions of Americans they have slated for destruction. What does this mean exactly?
List of millions of Americans that they have slated for destruction. Now, I'm not going to play this whole thing because, time, but you can go on People's Voice. This is one of the latest articles, okay, on that website. If I remember, I'll place the link in the description box. But I want to get to that other video because what he just said, millions of Americans slated for destruction. This has been in the works. This ain't something new. They saying Iran hacked and got into the system. Let me get that real quick. Oh no, YouTube. They saying Iran hacked and got into the system. All right. Well, this is this one says it was uploaded 6 years ago, which will put it about 2020. But I believe the actual video, the recording came out maybe 2018, 2017, 2018, 2019. I can't remember exactly, but I remember multiple brothers, including myself, did videos on it. Okay, and here we are. Okay, now these other alternative news is talking about it. All right, and we seeing them gear up to do exactly that. All right, to label so-called American citizens and then do away with them. Okay, so I'm gonna play a little bit of this video here. Okay, and then Lord will get more scriptures and close it out. And if I remember, I'll place this link in the description box as well. In this video, you got to watch the whole thing, because towards the end he goes in to you know, them establishing the NWO blackouts. He puts it as a purge, and he's actually looking at documents as he's speaking. Okay, so let's go.
Hello everyone, this is David Kohlberg again. This is probably going to be one of my most important videos that I've done yet. We're going to discuss a couple of things, new things that have come up. I have received classified documents from my White House insider, and we also have some memos that I've referenced in the past, and I'm going to walk through everything that I've been deciphering and learning from these videos, from the documents that I've received. So, we'll get into this. The crux of it, I want to just introduce you right away. What is it all about? This is it. This is what the documents reveal. There are too many people waking up. There are too many Americans, more and more of them, that are suspicious of Israel.
Is that not what's happening right now? All right, at an all-time high. Every social media, alternative news, all right, even, you know, like Democracy Now, you know, truthers, whatever you want to call them, everybody got their name in their mouth saying, you know, even this whole war, you know, everybody's saying this for those small hats. And people are waking up. Now, mind you, this was going back, like I said, 2017, 2018, 2019. Here we are, 2026, and the shit is about to hit the fan. All because of these people that wear them small hats. Okay? So when Paul said our salvation is nearer than when we believe, trust and believe that. Romans the 13th chapter. It is high time to awake out of sleep. Let me read that real quick. Let me read that, man. Okay? Romans 13. Romans 13 and 11. And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. Okay? It's over. Okay? It is high time to awake out of sleep. Matter of fact, let me look that. I never looked that word high time up. Let's see if it says some. High time. The Greek word hora, or ora, which means a certain definite time or season fixed by natural law and returning with the revolving year. All right, this is the certain time of the seasons of the year: spring, summer, autumn, winter. Basically a certain time, a definite time. Like right now that the weather's breaking, you can definitively say spring is here. Okay? Nice and sunny out. The temperatures are getting higher. Today, when I got in, it was 89, 90 degrees. So it's definitively springtime. Okay? Well, just like it's definitively springtime, it is definitively time for you Jakes to wake up out of sleep. All right? It's definite, that time. All right? Any definite time, point of time, moment. All right? So let's get back. Romans 13:11, and that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. All right? It's nearer than what we believe. Okay? Any day now, we can wake up to something major happening here in the States. That will be societal changing. Won't be no more going to work. Okay? Won't be no more paying bills. Okay, I was every day when I'm coming back, I drive past this logistics military base. And then the other day on the freeway, I'm coming back and I look down at the train tracks, whole train full of military vehicles and shipping containers. It would be shipping containers, military vehicles. Shipping containers, military vehicles, which I believe they all go together. The shipping containers contain material to go on the back of those military vehicles. And then this morning, when I was coming back, going past the logistics base, I see them loading on the tracks tanks. You know, they load tanks loaded, ready to roll out wherever they taking them. Actual tanks, military tanks, and don't be. I'm sure they're gonna pop up on social media somewhere. Somebody gonna record these trains moving these military vehicles around, and they like to move at night. You know. So things are about to go down, man. So let's go back to the video.
More and more Americans aware of Zionism. This has been around for decades and decades. You go back to the 50s, 60s, there's a lot of literature about Zionism, about Judaism. It's not unusual, but the difference is today, more and more people are waking up to it. It's been a real tipping point where you always had maybe about 0.5% of the population that was aware of Zionism, that did not like Jews and whatnot, but they were never part of the mainstream. They were always dismissed as conspiracy theorists. They had no influence.
You hear that? They had no influence, but now the influence is there. All right? Everybody knows. The influence is far greater than what it was 6, 7, 8 years ago. Because the proof is in the pudding. Okay?
They were not really a threat. But that has changed. And you know that has changed. Anyone paying attention knows that has changed. We have seen a big change in comment sections on YouTube, many people making references to Zionism. It has become a part of the nomenclature through the influence of 8chan, 4chan, many websites, and ultimately many YouTube channels that have been speaking the truth very aggressively for many years, but it has really gotten attention lately. It is somewhat of a cumulative effect, a snowball effect, where more and more people start to wake up to the truth and the facts, and it just expands. And people become more accepting of it. And they start to say, okay, it's okay for me to look at the information. I'm not an anti-Semite for looking at it. And it really starts to click for people. So this has been a big change in the recent past few years. What happened is that Israel, its agents, its propagandists, have been paying very close attention to this over the past few years. They know this is happening. They are very concerned about it. We are talking about 0.5% of Americans who have some idea of Zionism and they're against it and they understand it. That number, according to these documents, is now about, I saw two numbers. They said 15%, and another one said 7%, but that is a very large number of Americans that have woken up to what's going on with Israel and Zionism and the Israeli lobby and the influence. They're unafraid to hate Israel. That number is very high, and it has them very concerned. This is much of what the classified documents talk about, but we'll get into that more. I wanted to set it up for you so you actually understand what this is really about. What I was given from the White House Insider. The main part that you really need to know, though, is they have a plan for all of this. So I'm going to talk about that now. There is discussion within these documents years ago to ban the YouTube channels, to shut it down, all of that. But they changed course. They made a decision to do something completely different. And they decided, instead of censoring everything, to fund and promote gatekeeper channels, shill channels, to simply gather and collect all the open-minded people who are looking at the issue. And they did shut down some of the legitimate channels, and that has actually happened. If you're following some of that, you are aware that there have been channels that have been shut down, almost completely eliminated. Some of those channels were not a part of the original gatekeeper channels. They have no connection. They are truth-telling channels. Some of those they've eliminated that they felt were a threat or that might be calling out the gatekeeper channels. So, I'm just looking through some of the documents here and seeing what I want to talk about next. One really interesting aspect of all this is that the gatekeeper channels and the shill channels, typically these would be disinfo channels. Disinfo channels like Alex Jones, for example, has been a long time disinfo Zionist channel. Very, very active in deflecting people away from Zionism. Alex Jones talks about everything, but he never talks about Israel. So that is an active disinfo channel that's been around forever. What they created with these new gatekeeper channels is very truthful channels. They're very honest. They don't put out a lot of disinfo. They are actually legitimate. And that is done to give them credibility among these people who are awake, who are waking up. There was very specifically done, the documents to talk about that. Now I'm going to talk about what is the purpose of the whole operation, and the purpose of this is to put out truthful channels, to attract people to them. They call it tag throughout the documents.
And that's what we have now. That's why you have all these channels. A lot of them are paid opposition, i.e. Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Alex Jones, right? Just to name those three, because those are three major ones, all right? And he even mentions Alex Jones in this video, okay? And this is Project Pogo. And I believe that Project Pogo is just about over with. Okay? And just a little bit more we're going to listen to.
TTID. It's something you want to remember. This is very common throughout these documents. They're referred to all the time. So what does that tell you? They want to tag, they want to track you, and they want to identify who you are. If you are watching these channels, if you are informed, if you are awake on these issues, they want to tag you, they want to track you, and they want to know exactly who you are. They want to know and it talks about the tracking people's IP addresses through YouTube. They have access to YouTube. They do know who you are. So this is discussed a lot in the documents. I'm just looking through it right now. And there are two projects, and it's very important to listen to this. Project Pogo is one of them, and Project Zypher. I will spell that one. ZYPHR. Project Pogo and Project Zypher are the two projects that the classified documents are referring to, and each has a different role. Project Pogo is about the YouTube gatekeepers, how they are all agents. They're all paid to put out truthful information so that they can tag, track, and ID the people that are watching the videos and giving them likes and giving them comments. They're tracking all of it. Project Zypher is a different project, and that's what I'll talk about in a bit. That is the second stage here. That is coming up. And that is the extermination. They're going to exterminate these people, whether it is tag them for anti-Semitic speech, charge them with crimes, eliminate them completely, and this is where I'll talk about in the doc.
And this is the sentiment that's being spoken on these different media outlets, like the People's Voice. All right, so we here. All right, things are about to get real hot and heated. All right, in society, real perilous. Okay. Let's get the book of Isaiah real quick. 42. Salaki. Isaiah 42 and 9. Okay. Because this is the Lord speaking to us as it is written. We'll get that in Habakkuk. Isaiah 42 and 9. Behold, the former things are come to pass, and new things do I declare. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them. All right? And the writing is on the wall, man. All right? We see Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua about to let this devil go ape shit crazy here in Babylon the Great. All right? He's exposed. The deception doesn't work anymore. So what's left? Violence. All right? Violence. Destruction. All right? All in the name of playing the victim. Okay? Let's go to Habakkuk. Habakkuk 2 and 1. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. Right? So, checking out these articles, you know, this information that's coming out, that's being upon our watchtower. All right, and watching to see what the Lord is getting ready to say, and what are these small hats planning? Mass destruction upon millions of so-called Americans. All right, and that's Second Ezra the 16th chapter, which we'll get that. Okay, it says, and the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, and we at that appointed or definitive time. All right, we are here. But at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Okay? Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him. And that's talking about Esau. Okay? Beginning with these small hats, Amalek. Okay? But the just shall live by faith. All right? It says, verse 5, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. Right? This is their M.O. who enlarges his desire is hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. And here they are getting ready to try to gather up Babylon the Great. All right, here it is. They don't even belong in this land, and they laying down laws. Okay, they laying down laws saying if you throw a banner over a freeway, and it's insinuating the HATE word towards the Semites or those small hats, anti-Sem shit, you going to jail for 5 years. This is what they're saying here in America. Okay? So they ready to put the clamp down. They ready to come with the great destruction of millions of Americans. Let's go to the Apocrypha now. Let's get that in 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter. Let's go here. 2nd Ezra 16. And verse 18. It says, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine, okay, and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. Okay, and we're marrying the things in society right to what the scriptures say. All right, it's only a matter of time. Hell, you got the average Joe Blow, the average Jake saying the same thing. Okay, they told you. You know, the FBI said Iran could hit Babylon with rockets, which everybody was saying that's bullshit. But it don't matter if it's bullshit. They gon' do it to try to sell it as enemies. But remember what Joe Kent said: they're no threat to U.S. based upon his intelligence of counter terrorism. The top dude said that they are no threat to the U.S. people, nor the mainland. But he see the play, and this is why he said, I can't be a part of this. He see who getting ready to do the damn thing. It's them small hats getting ready to bring turmoil and destruction right here to the States. Right here in Babylon. And in turn, you're going to have people rebel. Okay? Let's get that, and then I'll close it out. I got to lay it down. 2nd Ezra chapter 15. Starting at 14. Let me see something. I'm going to read 12, then I'm going to jump to 14. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. Woe to the world, verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For their sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands, because these Edomites here in Babylon, they not finna let these small hats come over here and dictate how America's gonna be run. Trust and believe that. All right? Trust and believe that. They all are aware who's running the show. And once they get to coming over here and try to lay down the law, that's when all hell gonna break loose, man. Okay? We on the brink of that happening. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And we see this all coming to a boiling point. All of it is coming to a boiling point. All right? And this is what they want. They want mass chaos and destruction. All right? And they will emerge with the solution, which will be the RFID micro CHIP and the New World Order, the technocracy. This is the plan. Okay? This is the plan. It has always been the plan. And the prophets of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai have always been warning about this very sad time that we're living in. So with that, man, I'm going to close it out. Lord will, this was edifying and exhorting to the hopeful elect. All praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and we on to the next. Shalom.